It is officially Mets home opening day. How you doing, everybody? It's Wardy here, and I am amped up to get into our pregame segment today, as the Mets are about to kickstart a three-game stint there against the Toronto Blue Jays, and what is the first of many homestands at Citi Field with the one and only Juan Soto, this time in a Mets uniform. Folks, I am so pumped up to get into this one. We're going to break down the lineups, as you guys can see beside me here in just a moment. We're also going to share some updates in Mets land, as well as what we heard some pregame today, as well as some other key topics with each and every one of you. And I'll probably reiterate some of these things as well in our next Big Mets update segment that I'm sure will drop tomorrow morning after tonight's post-game show, rather, so be on the lookout for that, everybody. But folks, we got a lot to get into. We got to get the hype going in the chat as well, so if you're first chiming in live or on replay, please smash that like and subscribe on your way in. Thank you so much in advance for doing exactly that, and help us get to our next subscriber goal of 33,000 subscribers. We're just right around 500 away, and we're giving away a Mets jersey of whatever player you currently want on the roster to one lucky subscriber. And all you guys got to do is hit that subscribe button, help us get to 33K, and once we get there, a week after that time, we'll be doing a live show where we will randomly select a fan in the chat, a subscriber that says me in the chat, to ultimately be the winner. So help us get there. Thank you guys kindly for that. Sadly, I'm not there in attendance at this home opener. I know that some of you guys actually are that are chiming in right now. I'm going to shout you all out just here in a second, so thank you guys again so much for chiming in. But even though I will not be there, I do have exciting news. I was just reiterating to many of you guys over the past week plus that I would be attending this Wednesday's game against the Miami Marlins, that being April 9th. Well, great news, I'm going to be attending the game prior as well. Your guy Wardy will be reporting live Tuesday and Wednesday from Citi Field, so you guys will get not necessarily pregame coverage, it might be hard to swing, but certainly postgame coverage live from Citi Field, win, lose, or draw there in either certain section I'm going to find out, or where I've done in the past in a specific club. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that. Cannot wait to be at Citi Field this season, and I'm envious of the thousands of you guys right now at the game, but rightfully so. It's a packed crowd, probably the most packed opening day, what feels like in a hot minute. I know opening day is always packed at Citi Field, but now to have Juan Soto on our side, there's a different animal to this. There's a different element to this, and that makes it all the more intriguing and all the more exciting. So let's get into this, everybody. We got Juan Diaz, our great member moderator. How you doing? We got Luis, Ethan. We got Leo, great mod. Pardon me, great member. We got Dave Kaplitz. Dave, I know you send stuff to the P.O. Box. I'm behind. I will definitely get there as soon as I possibly can. Thank you so much for being in here. As always, we got Paula Bonner. How you doing? We got Real Deal. Big Frank. We're going up the list. VJ. We're going up. Michael Mass. How you doing? Scott A. Going up. Ethan. John Infante. Chad O'Neill, our great member. How are you? Leslie V. Jojo. D. Garcia. Peter Joseph. Julio. Let's see. Ari in here. We got Eddie C. Jason. Again, everyone who's chiming in as well, especially from the game, you guys are beasts. Thank you so much for doing exactly that. I know a lot of you guys are already tailgating, and the biggest thing that I wish I was there for right now, honestly, and this is what we'll do next year, a guarantee, is we're going to set up a table and we're going to do live pregame coverage and post-game coverage at Citi Field in a tailgate fashion or something like that. We didn't do it this year, but we will next year, especially with how dope the block party setting is. I haven't gotten a chance to personally experience that at Citi Field over the last year and a half or so since they've really revamped things, so really excited for that too. But all right, enough of me rambling. We got a lot to get into, folks. The Mets play baseball today. It is their biggest series yet against what is going to be their future guy on their side, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I'm half joking as I say that. I want Vladdy and Alonso. Yeah, I'm nuts. I'm all over the place. I'm amped for this game if you guys couldn't tell. But let's start with the Toronto Blue Jays series, and then we will get on to the Mets, and I meant to say lineup, not series, so I apologize. But let's start top down, everybody. Bo Bichette, who's looking for a bounce-back year after what was a putrid 2024. He's off to a better start, to say the least. He is batting leadoff there at short. Batting second is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Will he reach 550? Will he reach 600 million? What will Vladdy reach this offseason? We will find out soon enough. But hey, he is right now a Toronto Blue Jay, and he's batting second there at first base. Batting third is the newcomer in Toronto, one of two, and funny enough, they're batting back-to-back in this lineup. The former Baltimore Orioles said, no, I don't want to be an Oriole. I always like the Blue Jays better bird-wise, and that is Anthony Santander on the 5+ year contract. Batting fourth, and Santander is in left field. Batting fourth for the Blue Jays is going to be former New York Met exciting young infield prospect who was dealt early in his career and a big trade for one Francisco Mr. Smile Lindor. We have Andres Gimenez batting cleanup with over 1,000 OPS. He's tearing the cover off the ball to begin the year. I don't expect that to be a consistent thing, but certainly a great start to the season for Gimenez. He deserves credit there at second base, coming over from the Guardians this past offseason. Batting fifth is Alejandro Kirk on a newly signed extension, one of the better overall catchers in Major League Baseball. Him and Cal Riley got big paydays, rightfully so, this past offseason. He is batting fifth at catcher. Batting sixth is George Springer, a man that was so close to being a New York Met that we saw 4+ years ago in Steve Cohen's first offseason. I'm grateful to say it didn't happen because regardless on what Springer does or doesn't do this series, he is a guy that, in my opinion, was not worthy of the contract when you look at how it's graded out for Blue Jays fans up until now. He's off to a good start this season, so we'll see how that continues into the series, but there's been, not so great years there in Toronto for Springer, and the fans know that. Batting seventh, we have a newcomer here, a youngster, and Mr. Wagner at DH. He's been an exciting young talent for the Blue Jays, so he's a guy to keep an eye on. Clement, they're batting eighth at the hot corner, and Rodon in the ninth spot in right field. Your pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays today is going to be Mr. Kevin Gausman, who has a flat 3 ERA, but a 4.26 ERA throughout his first what we have seen starter to this season. Hey, Wardy, hope to see you next Wednesday afternoon at Citi Field. Let's go Mets. Robert, hope to see you there, my friend. Yeah, I'll be roaming around City for a little bit. I will be in a specific club for the Wednesday game, but for Tuesday, I will definitely be roaming around quite a bit throughout the course of the game, so I hope to see you guys there for sure. But let's get on to the Mets segment now. Why am I saying segment? The Mets lineup. You can call it a segment. We're just going to roll with it right now. We got here batting leadoff, Mr. Smile himself and Francisco Lindor. Cannot wait to hear my girl there in Citi Field and having all of that packed 40+ thousand stadium singing along with him. That's going to be fantastic. Batting second, and I'm looking forward to seeing what his walk-up's going to be. I'd imagine it's going to be one of the newer songs in which he has been in direct connection with guys like Bad Bunny especially. But let's see what the Soto walk-up is going to be. He is second there in right field. So pumped for the announcements. Pete Alonso, the Polar Bears, off to a roaring start this season. He is batting third for the Mets at first base. Batting fourth is Brandon Hemo. They're batting cleanup out of left field. Batting fifth is going to be Starling Marte, the only true change we've seen in the lineup and positioning for guys over the past couple days is Mark Vientos moving down one spot in the order. Usually he's batting fourth or fifth based on matchup with the starting pitcher, but today he's moved down twice because we see his struggles so far this season, both offensively and defensively. That's why Marte is batting in between the two. We also see everybody at work soliciting in headphones. I appreciate you, Peen. Just make sure you don't get in trouble, my man. Thank you kindly for being in here. We got Torrens batting seventh, who's tearing the cover off the ball to begin the season. Louis Torrens has been one of the best stories of the Mets to this point to begin the year. Batting eighth is Luis Angel Acuna, and batting ninth is Jose Siri. I love the speed when it comes to both those guys. Those speed demons back-to-back, 8 and 9, back to the top of the order of the Mets lineup. So I'm intrigued, to say the least, to see how this team is going to do. And Tyler McGill, who had himself a rock-solid first start of the year, is now coming in for his second start of the season with a 1.64 ERA and a 3.64 expected ERA. So both McGill and Gausman have had some defense on their side, have had some lady luck on their side because the expected numbers aren't as favorable as the baseline ERA. But I did want to tell you guys what I thought was fascinating was taking a look back memory lane. Let's go all the way back to 2009, and shout out to Michael Mayer for first pulling this up on X to make it easy to break down. Let's go over the Mets opening day starters at home since the 2009 season. So since the start of Citi Field, right? 2009, Mike Pelfrey. 2010, Mr. Johan Santana. 2011, the knuckleballer himself and R.A. Dickey. 2012, Johan Santana. 2013, John Neese, who I walked right past at Mets Amazing Day. 2014, Dylan Gee. 2015, Jacob deGrom. 2016, Jacob deGrom. 2017, Noah Syndergaard. 2018, Noah Syndergaard. 2019, Noah Syndergaard. Actually crazy how we had Noah as our opening day starter for 3 consecutive years. 2020, Jacob deGrom. 2021, Taijuan Walker. 2022, Chris Bassett. 2023, Tyler McGill. 2024, Jose Quintana. in 2025, Tyler McGill. This is the second time in 3 years that Tyler McGill is in this. That was a joke. Let's go, Matt. Jason, how you doing, baby? Happy to have you in here. But second time in 3 years that Tyler McGill gets the first start at Citi Field for the season. Excited to see how he'll do. Really intrigued to see how far he'll go into today's start as well against what is a pretty solid Toronto Blue Jays lineup. It definitely can be top heavy when things are not going so well, but when everything's clicking, this Blue Jays lineup is pretty solid 1 through 9. Not as good as it was back 2.5, 3 years ago when they had Marcus Semien, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., Gabby Moreno, as he wasn't even really established yet. Danny Jansen, when he was solid that season. The list goes on from there of guys who are no longer part of the organization, but they're still off to a stalled start so far this year. Am I streaming this game today, Awards? I'm not, Tristan, but I appreciate you asking. The next game that we will be streaming for playback will probably be, I'd imagine, either Thursday or Friday next week. It depends on the schedule. Actually, I'll have to look because we have that A series, and those are really late games. Maybe I'll have to do one Monday. We'll see. We'll see. But next watch party through Playback that you guys can check out. If you guys don't know Playback TV, we are hooked up with them all year long, and they are the best and most revolutionary sports app in the game. You can check it out. It's linked down below. Join my room, and what you do is you sign up, make an account for free, and then if you have an MLB TV subscription, you link that to your account so you can actually watch the game live in real time, listen to GKR while watching me react live with each and every one of you throughout the game. So it's like a big watch party room, basically, and we can skip channels to go on to different games when commercial breaks are happening, or if, say, the Mets game is, not looking too hot and we want to focus on something else, we can. It's a lot of fun, and then we also simulcast it on YouTube, but on YouTube, it doesn't show the game itself. It just shows a scoreboard, and it tells you guys if you want to check out Playback, there will be a QR code, a thing that pops up on the screen every so many minutes for you to be further incentivized to check out playback.tv/WardyNYM. But yes, we'll be doing more watch parties sometime next week, either in the beginning of the week or probably more towards the end, because we're going to be traveling a lot next week out of town, New York for a couple games, as well as towards the end of the week, going to be going out of town to a different state because we got ourselves a comedy show to attend that I'm looking forward to. Jack with a $2 donation says, Mets baseball is back, baby. Hype me up. You hype me up, Jack. I'm amped up. I cannot wait to see the Mets go out there. I have been longing for this. It always sucks, and I mean always sucks when you have to start a season on a prolonged road trip. It's one thing if it's just the first road trip, and then, okay, you go right back home after 3 games, and maybe you're in Philadelphia or something, so it really isn't a big deal. Like what we saw actually a couple years ago in 2021, I was in Philly for that opening day, and Jacob deGrom was looking fantastic, but the Mets couldn't hit a lick against like Nick Anderson and Matt Moore. It was disgusting, just absolutely disgusting. I digress. Things have changed a lot since then. Now we have Juan Soto to be very excited about, everybody. I do have some things to share with you on the front of what we can expect in this matchup, because as I broke down in our video that a lot of you guys have seen over the past day, over 10,000 of you guys, so thank you guys kindly for that. In our big Mets update segment that dropped yesterday evening, I rounded out the show by doing a quick series preview on this matchup. And game 1 today is Tyler McGill and Kevin Gausman. Game 2, we're going to have tomorrow in a very intriguing matchup in Chris Bassett and Griffin Canning. And game 3, it's going to be the best pitching matchup on paper, but I think game 2 might be the most entertaining. But game 3 is Bowden Francis, the young dominant right-hander that carved up the Mets up until Francisco Lindor ripped a nuke off of him right towards the end of the game. Thankfully, the Mets won that game in the end, if you guys remember, towards the end of last season against David Pearson. So that's going to be a goodie for sure. And offensively, again, the Toronto Blue Jays have been off to a good start this year. Outside of getting, pummeled in a couple of games against the Baltimore Orioles, they've had a very good start. They're 6-2 to this point. Their offense has been solid in areas that maybe you wouldn't expect it as much. Again, the power production from guys like Jimenez to start the year has been impressive. Not necessarily something that they were expecting when they first acquired him. Guys like Vladdy Guerrero Jr. and Anthony Santander have really yet to establish themselves so far this season, so expect this to be a series where they may very well go ahead and do exactly that. And for the Mets, we need to finally get some consistency on Lindor's front. Goes without saying. I understand that he usually has slow starts to the season. Doesn't mean that we can't also critique it and be like, okay, you still need to play better. It doesn't mean that you're a bad player, or that I don't think that you won't thrive this year, because I believe all those things in the case of Lindor. But at the same time, I think it's important to make note that, he still needs to get things going, and that goes without saying. A 236 OPS just can't be done at the MLB level, really at any point, I feel like. We'll look at the rest of this lineup. Vientos really needs to get things figured out. I'm a firm believer that he will, and I think a Citi Field homestand where he loves to thrive with the fans, with this environment, is really going to bode him well. Terens, I expect to be a dog and do more of the same. Acuna, I could see having a flair for the dramatic in one of the games this series. I think we could see Acuna having one game this series with at least 2 hits. That'd be awesome. And Jose Siri, we know the defense is electric, so let's just see how much Mets fans adopt him and appreciate him for what he is, which is a human highlight reel when everything's going right. Wardy, will we be able to hear the player introduction? Angelo, we're not going to be doing that on this. You'll have to watch the actual game itself today to be hearing the player introduction for the opener. You should be able to, though, when you guys put on SNY's broadcast today. I can't see why they wouldn't be playing it. I'm actually going to have to flip back and forth, unfortunately, because I have, not that's an unfortunate thing, just time of the day, not on my side. I had to move my Bleacher Report segment because I initially was scheduled for 5, wasn't going to work with the schedule, so it's at 3 today. So I'm going to be behind on seeing the player introductions one by one happen, so I'm going to have to watch that recorded after the fact, and then I'll just be locking in on the game from there to get set for our post-game segment today. Let's see. The Blue Jays are scrappy. Yeah, they're, like I said, they're off to a good start this season. BR, how are you? Thank you kindly for chiming in. Hope all is well with you and your fam. Let's see. George Santana says Lindor goes deep today. I love that optimism. All right, guys, let's get the predictions going. Perfect segue right here, right now. Let's talk about it. What are your predictions for today when it comes to individual player performances, as well as your prediction on the final score? Let's hear it, folks. Lindor goes golden sombrero today. Spoken like a true optimist, Chuck. Let's see. I was at the Miami series. The energy there was amazing. I fully expect the energy to continue today. Absolutely. I mean, if you have energy in Miami, I'm going to go on a limb and say you're going to have energy at a packed Citi Field to kickstart the season, right? I think that goes without saying. Vientos home run today. Oh, I like that. Terens goes yard for Mets first homer. Mets win 6-4. Soto goes 2 for 4 with an RBI. Lindor, Soto, and the Bear go back to back to back. Oh, Luis, I might just lose my mind if that happens. Let's see. Mets win 7-4. Beatty pinch hit homer. Soto and Pete homer. Lindor golden sombrero. Okay. Nemo deep in the 4th. I like that. That's a good pick. Mets team total over 3.5 runs. I like that. God willing, we get a good amount of runs today. That'd be amazing. Let's see here. What else we got on your predictions, everybody? Saw it the first time, Chuck. Lindor goes deep. Soto hits 2 home runs. Heck yeah. Sign me up for that, Scott. If you guys are first chiming in, we are pre-gaming and getting into what today's amazing matchup will be for the Amazons and their home opener against the Toronto Blue Jays. Let us know in the chat what your predictions are, everybody. We love to hear it. Mookie Wilson barbecue is great, by the way. Oh, I believe it. I have to try it. I'm hoping to try it at some point this season when a part of the pre-game block party setting, because I know that he has his BBQ set up there, and he's out there serving people. He's just the absolute best. I had the privilege of meeting Mookie at the Mets opening day. Was it last year? No, it was 2023. 2023 Mets opening day. I had the privilege of meeting him there. That was absolutely fantastic. Oh, wait, was it opening day? Maybe it was the next day. Maybe it was the very next day. It was against the Miami Marlins, though. I met him right behind home plate. That's where I was sitting. It was really, really cool. And he signed a napkin because I didn't really have anything to get him to sign, but he is without question one of my dad's favorite players growing up, and I want to get him something kind of a little bit more personal. So I'm like, hey, can you sign this napkin for me? And he did that without a problem. I actually have Mookie Wilson and Bill Buckner's dual jersey where it's combined. It has both their names on it, and it's signed by both of them as well from the iconic 86 play. And Buckner's no longer with us, obviously, which is very unfortunate. And again, my further condolences to the entire Buckner family, because I know that was tragic when it happened. But it is very something that I treasure and take with great pride, because it was gifted to me by a member on the platform, one of our first members, actually, who tragically passed away not even a full year into following the content. Was informed by his mother later on that year that out of nowhere he found out he had spinal cancer, and it was already at like stage 4 status or so. So before we knew it, in like snap of a finger, he was out of here. And it was just insane, because it was only a couple months from doing it like a Zoom call with him, getting to meet him more on a one-on-one level. Very nice guy. Went out of his way to send this my way, only in his like 30s, I bet, and he was just gone like that. So that I appreciate a lot. It means a lot to me. But Mookie Wilson, I will always have a soft spot for, because there's been this continued connection with him specifically and that moment. Let's see here. Wardy, I expected you to go the game today. Jacob, so did I. The only reason why I didn't, guys, is one, the schedule's absolutely hectic, especially being a dad. Things are easier said than done at times. But also because I have multiple games coming up that I already planned. And a day like today, to me, is just as important to be here, to watch here and cover it with each and every one of you as it is to physically be there. The perks to being there physically is obviously to really be able to enjoy things more in the moment, and it's great for networking, especially in the first week or so of the season. That's why I try to be there too, beyond just seeing my amazing Mets. But today is a big day as well. Regardless win or lose, I want to be here right away for you guys so we can break down the game together, hear your reactions, and do everything in between. I think that's a very important thing. And if everything goes right, I may be able to take some live callers today as well. So we'll be on the lookout. I would love to make that happen, especially with the timing of today's game. That might be one of the better opportunities that I will have versus others to make that happen. So if it's a good game today, if it's an entertaining one, something for us to have a worthy discussion on, solid chance that we will be doing callers later today, as long as everything is set up and I don't have any hiccups. So be on the lookout for that for sure. We know more about the Buckner game than we do Game 7 of the World Series. No, you're 100% right. You're 100% right, Daniel Caps. You're killing me. What jersey am I wearing? Great question. You guys want to see what jersey I'm rocking? I'll be happy to show you. All right, guys. Here's a jersey we're rocking today. Of course we got to rock the Juan Soto jersey at his home opener. Like, are you kidding? What else will we be wearing? There would be nothing else that we would be wearing. That's only what we got to wear here in his first home debut. You got to be rocking it. Wardy joins Gary Keith around the booth. Prediction, Dave, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool, Dave. Maybe one day, Dave. We'll see. We'll see for sure. But let's go back over here for a second. Let's talk more about this matchup. And I apologize for the jump scare. Again, it isn't a Wardy show without a jump scare, right? Same way it isn't a Wardy show without shouting out one of our amazing sponsors. And we got multiple today. But let's start here first with our awesome friends at BetUS TV, folks, that have you covered with all the latest odds, lines, and picks. And as you guys see right now, the Mets are the money line favorite in this one by just a smidge at minus 125. They're minus 1.5 at plus 156 there on the run line. Whereas we see the money line for the Blue Jays here, the slight underdog with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. leading the way at plus 114. And this is going to be over 7.5 runs at minus 110 there for them. So again, if you guys have interest in these kind of picks, these kind of lines, BetUS TV has you covered with all the following things. And I know for me, obviously, it's hard not to want to be biased in my picks and my predictions of anything of that nature, especially in the case of the Mets on their home opener. But I will tell you right now, I will be sprinkling some, but not too much, because I really don't know what we're going to be getting today from the Amazons. We know when it comes to the Mets at home, they usually perform really, really well to begin the season when it comes to like that first game or so. If we exclude last year, typically if they really have things going right, we've seen solid games, but we've also seen some snooze fests. And I think of the first game at home, which I believe was against the Miami Marlins in 2021, and that was like a brutal way. I think they won in the end because of Michael Conforto lean-in, among other things. Then we also think of, last year was not ideal whatsoever against Milwaukee. So I don't exactly know what we're going to get from the boys today. But what I can tell you is that regardless on what they do, this is going to be a massive year for the Mets. The Mets can have a horrendous homestand for all I care. And I care, obviously, and I'll rant about it. But in all seriousness, I know that in a 162, they're going to have so many ebbs and flows. And if they do anything of encouragement, if they do anything of consistency in this, I'm going to be beyond amped up about it. Why? Because that just shows you more of the Juan Soto effect. That shows you also the continuation of the Mets from last year, where they were one of the best teams all year long from May and a half on for the remainder of the season. Their ability to be resilient, their ability to have that never say die mentality for a good chunk of last year is what I hope continues into what we're seeing now. Because we're at 500. If you look at the games the Mets lost so far this year, there isn't one single one of those games that the Mets shouldn't have won where they didn't win. No, not necessarily just because the other team was better. And this isn't to completely discredit the Houston Astros and the Marlins, so I'd like to bear that in mind. But I think in the case of the Marlins especially, context is important. And for the Mets to not hit the way that they just don't do some games is a collective issue. And we have seen this year after year after year. This is not something that's new. That's why we understand not to look at it beyond what it is right in front of us, which is a collective group. When they get hot in bunches, and they get hot as a collective group. And when that happens, it's an amazing thing. That's what leads to big runs. That's what leads to greater success. And that's what leads to not the Mets just making playoffs, but ultimately having a deep run, hopefully. If you have the inconsistencies on the offense, it has a lot more to do with a collective group of guys than just one or the other. Even when we think of, for just a quick second, on the Miami Marlins game that the Mets lost, the Mets out-hit Miami in that game. It was their defense that was their demise mostly, and that was in Francisco Lindor, sadly having 2 errors for like the first time in forever. So I'm feeling good about the boys. Again, whatever happens, this series happens, but I'm feeling pretty optimistic right now, and I think not only today is going to stand out, but I think today has potential to be something special, especially with the uncertainty, as we know, with the next couple days weather-wise. The timing of today's game, I like. The weather looks good, so I hope the boys can really lock in and put on a show for all you amazing Mets fans in attendance. Let's see. Let's go up the list and see what comments you guys got for me in the chat right now. Then I'm going to share some more things with each and every one of you in just a second. I hate this game starting while I'm still with my students. We all watching it. Oh, Brandon, again, shout out to you and your students. That's awesome. I know it's not ideal, but hey, you got to lock in. You got to lock in. No matter where you are, you got to lock in. You got to have the game on in some fashion, right? With a home crowd here, the offense has to find a way to break out somehow. I 100% agree. 100% agree. And it pisses me off to no end anytime the Mets bats don't show up at home, especially in playoff fashion. Like what they didn't effing do when I saw Max Scherzer toe the rubber against Yu Darvish and the Padres in the playoffs. Not ideal. Don't recommend it to anybody. McGill has to come through, I hope. Yep, I 100% agree. And he has all the potential to come through. I think we're going to see a solid Tyler McGill today. I would love to get 6 innings out of McGill. That'd be great. You know, it'd be awesome if we didn't have to wait like a full month plus in the season to get a starter to give us 6+ innings fairly consistently. If we could get that from Tyler today, 3 earned runs or less, I'll be satisfied. I never have this overly high bar for someone like McGill, but I don't also have the lowest either at this point in his career, especially in a year that's very make or break, I think, for him and his stats in the organization beyond this season. It's going to be indicative to really see how he performs or lack thereof over the next couple months, leading up to the trade deadline, especially how the Mets evaluate him, how they feel about him, how much length was he able to give us, how quality was his arsenal looking, was the velo uptick staying consistent, because we know that with the velocity, that can stay up. That leads to great success for McGill. Without it, it's definitely been his demise. So if we can see Tyler McGill, again, making sure he's sitting closer to the 95.5, 96 echelon, then good things happen. When he's getting the upper 90s, we have seen great success. When he's below 95, we have seen him look a lot more vulnerable. It doesn't set up his other pitches well, and he's not getting as much bite, leads to more walks, leads to frustration, maybe some bad fundies behind him, because there's been some really bad defense over the years behind McGill, and the outfield front especially with a guy like Marte. And if I'm being very specific, there's been multiple occasions where Marte like didn't handle a ball well in a McGill start that I know frustrate him, I'm sure. So I hope that we get great defense today. Hope Juan Soto does his thing. Hope that Jose Siri's able to back him up left, right, and center wherever they need him. Same thing with Brandon Nimmo. I would love to see Brandon Nimmo hit a bomb today, but I think I would love to see 2 things today, folks. 2 things on the home run front. Obviously, I need a Juan Soto home run. But what I also need is one of Vientos or Lindor. I'm not going to be too greedy. I would love it both, but I'm not going to be too greedy. I would just like a home run from one of the 2 at least. One of Mark or one of Lindor. Why? They're both in complete ruts to start the season. It's a good confidence boost, especially if they could do that against a veteran like Kevin Gausman today. And if they can't do it against Gausman, then shit, go ahead and do it against the bullpen. That's more than fine too. So that's how I'm feeling heading into this matchup. And prediction-wise, if I had to see if the Mets are going to win this one, I'm going to go with a final score prediction with Kevin Gausman and Tyler McGill on the mound. I'm going to go with a final prediction to give the Mets a win of 5-3. Let's see if I'm right. Let's see if I'm wrong. All I know is that I just really hope the Mets win when everything is said and done. That's the biggest takeaway here. Score prediction 100-0. Mets final score. I think that's a decent score. Not too far off. Cons Gaming says, I just want 2 base hits from both. That's all. The bar's out low for Cons in the chat. He's like, I just want a couple base knocks to satisfy 2.5 hours of watching baseball. Said absolutely nobody but Cons. Let's see here. 6-3 Mets is Brandon. Yeah, guys, continue to let me know your predictions in the chat. I'd love to hear it. And while you do that, let me show you guys some exciting things that we're going to talk about more in our Big Mets update segment that will drop tomorrow. So be on the lookout for it. But I am going to get out of here in just a second, everybody, because the Mets are now doing their home opener festivities, and I do not necessarily want to spoil that experience for each and every one of you, and including myself. So before we get out of here, let me show you guys just briefly what we have going here. Oh, wait, they're doing the intros now. Should I just show the intros? I don't know. I'm trying to think. Is this... I think the pregame festivities is going to be more so, and it's kind of shouting out everyone, alumni, stuff like that. Like Carlos Mendoza is being introduced right now with something at the moment. Let me show you guys what I want to show you first, and then I'll figure out what I'm going to do. You guys see that? There's Jeff McNeil. He's getting close, everybody. There's Jeff taking grounders at second base prior to today's game. This is something that we're going to talk about more along with other key injury updates in our Big Mets update segment. That'll be part of a greater conversation, just because I know that it's limited in how many of you guys go out your way to watch the pregame content, and that dies off as soon as the game starts for the most part. Let's see. Where are the intros being shown? The intros are being shown on the Mets official YouTube channel right now. I imagine that'll be shown on SNY soon, if not already. But yeah, it is on the Mets official YouTube right now for you guys to check out, should you wish. Okay, well, they appear to be in a pause in their ceremonial process, and I know that they're going to be showing more. So I'm going to wrap up the pregame show now, everybody. The reason why I don't want to go out of my way to do that is, if I'm being completely frank, I don't want to run the entire live thing for what it is right now, and I know that they purposely want to pump that out on their platform, so I'm going to give them that respect. I'm going to just go watch it separately, so I implore you guys to do the same on the Mets official YouTube channel. And like I said, guys, I will be back live here right at the end of the game for our post-game coverage. Maybe we're even going to go live before the game officially ends. We might start it just a smidge beforehand to share our reaction to maybe the final inning to half inning, and then we'll go right into post-game. But again, to be determined. At absolute worst, we'll be live as soon as the game breaks is over for either a win breakdown, a loss breakdown. Either way, folks, Mets home opener is finally here. Lock in, get ready. I cannot wait to see you guys there. Be on the lookout if you guys want to chime into my Bleacher Report segment at 3 p.m. sharp. If you guys don't want to because you're locked in on the Mets game starting, completely understand. No worries whatsoever. I'm going to be live there for like 20 minutes, and then I'll be locking on the Mets game for the remainder of it. Thank you guys again. Love you all to death. Cannot wait to see you guys at Citi Field starting Tuesday and Wednesday next week. Now let's get ready for this